So let's start integrating an Angular client with this Node.js server we have been building, and let's see what we've got so far. We know we have the API where we can retrieve the quizzes, right? We can retrieve the questions for a particular quiz. Questions. Right, so we have that. We just created an endpoint for the attempts that we can retrieve the attempts for a quiz. So we can ask for the attempts other than the questions. We say attempts. Notice that comes back as empty because nobody has tried answering this particular quiz, right? So that's what we're going to work on next. All right, so to work on that, what we're going to do is that we are going to refactor a couple of things. One of the things that we are going to refactor is that when we are iterating over the questions, right, in the quiz component, right, we would like to be able to grab what the answer is, right? So let's first review what we have so far for the user interface, right? So let's review the client. So for the client, right, let me kick it off and run it. So it will be all right. It's already running. So if I go to localhost 4200, let's see what we got so far. So if I go to quizzes, right, notice that it's rendering all the quizzes, and I believe we have a quiz, right? This is one of the quizzes. This quiz, right? If I retrieve that quiz, this is the quiz, right? And it has these two questions, one question, two questions, and indeed we can render them, right, as true, false. And the question was, let's see what the question was. The question is, do you like the beach? Yeah. So yeah, there it is. Do you like the beach? And it's a true false question. It's a true false question. We have the correct answer is true, true. Right. We also have another question, a multiple choice. What is your favorite color? And indeed, we have what is your favorite color? So we have a component that knows how to render this, right? And so let's see how it's implemented. So it's implemented as follows. Notice that we're navigating it to. There are two different components. There's quizzes, right? That renders all the quizzes. And then there's one where you provide the ID of the quiz and it renders the questions in the quiz. So that's implemented in our routing, right, where we have these routes, right? So if you say quizzes, then we have the quizzes component, which the only thing that it does is that it fetches all the quizzes, right, and then it iterates. And then iterates over that as a list of quizzes, and it binds it to this URL. If you click on that URL, you go to that quiz, which is rendered by this other path, this other route, right? Which is, if you provide the ID, we're going to render the quiz component. So the quiz component, what it does is that it parses a quiz ID, and then it fetches all the questions for the quiz. These are the questions that we're going to render, and we want to be able to answer them, right? And then we're going to, since we have the array of the questions here that are a copy from the server, right? We're going to use that when we submit. We're going to submit the exact same questions back to the server, but what we're going to do is that we're going to use that to copy them into the attempt. Okay. So the quiz component just iterates over the quiz or all over the questions in the quiz, and depending on the type of the question, either renders as a true false or a multiple choice, right? And notice that we're passing down into the component, we're passing the question as we iterate, right, through this attribute. And so we receive that attribute here as this input right? Now this is strictly one directional, right? It's the data is coming from this iterator, right? This for loop here, this ng4 that is declaring each one of these instances, and it's passing them down to each one of the components through this input here. Okay, so that's strictly one directional. Okay, notice that the square brackets, right, are used to say to describe that the data is going into the component, right? So whatever you give me as a value, it's used to populate a field, a property, right, in that component, right? Right. So far, so good. This is where we left off. All right. So let's now see how we can augment this this quiz component so that we can submit the entire answer. Right. Notice that we have this answer. Right. The user can answer. Right. They can select yes, no. Right. And we see the answers being shown here. Right. Same thing here. We can select the right answer, right, and it's changing. So what we'd like to be able to do is grab the original question and then also add the answer and send it back to the server.